Hi, I'm going to run you through a quick foam roller opener for our entire body. So grab your foam roller and meet me on the mat. All right, so I'm just going to show you two different styles of foam rollers to begin. This first one is the typical foam roller. Round on, for the entire thing so that you can roll, and long enough that you can lie down on it with your head here and your tailbone here, okay? So these come in different hardnesses. This one is pretty hard. They have versions that are soft so that when you roll on them, they're not quite memory foam like a bed, but they are much softer and they have much more give. If you feel that in the past foam rollers have been too hard for you, they have softer versions now. Another version is this, and this has little grooves in it. And these grooves are so that you can put body parts here so that when you're rolling, you can put your spine here, your shoulders can fit in here, your hips can fit in here. So if you have certain body parts that just feel too tender and you're not able to get them to roll appropriately on something that is flat, there's this option. So I just wanted to show you that there are a couple of different types that you can use. So we're going to go with the standard foam roller today, and just starting by sitting up on the foam roller. And what I want you to do is roll forward, going just to your tailbone, and then rolling back so that you're sitting on your sit bones, okay? You're feeling nice and long. Make sure that you have your hands on the sides for stability. And your legs should be stable and separated as you do this. You're not going so far back that your tailbone is actually on it, right? This is sort of in that space in between your tailbone and your sit bones. And what you can do is just simply rock side to side to loosen up the muscles and the tissue and begin to get a little bit of softness in there. So you can start to feel that your pelvis really has a lot of nooks and crannies where it never gets massaged, really, right? Unless you're going to a therapist that's getting into deep tissue. And you want to take your time with this. So now what we're going to do is come off to one side. You never go directly onto your hip bone. You always want to work around it. So you may have to play with this a little bit, but if you have a hand behind you and maybe another hand supporting you, you can start to gently turn and start getting a little massage up through your upper back, or sorry, upper hip. Right, so you're just sort of doing a little gentle turn. And now I want you to come all the way around. Now my hip bone is down here. So this is up higher on my pelvis. Almost where my hip bone is all the way up here. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. The whole idea is it should feel like you're getting the tissue and you're touching the tissue, but not to the point of pain. Okay, so just a gentle roll. And now coming back through, and back to that soft spot between your tailbone and your sit bone, we're going to go to the other side. And again, take your time and explore. There's no rush. You're just coming off to the side and then gently rolling through. Massaging that area in your back that can sometimes feel sore or tight. And if you can't get it with a nice hamstring stretch, this is sure to do the trick. So just getting that nice motion and then coming back up through the middle. Now, the first roll that I want to do with you is the IT band. This is the area that, again, can't really reach doing a lot of different stretches, okay? And for some people, if you're a runner, do a lot of sports, this area can be very tight, okay? So again, you're thinking about where is your hip. You always avoid, you don't run that right over the top of this. So you're starting in that little soft spot that we talked about. And then you're coming around just below your hip and then finding the side of your leg that is your IT band. So I don't know if you can see this because of the lighting here, but what you want to do is just have little rolls here. So move up through the tissue. And there are different spots, like about halfway up, you're going to feel an area where it's like, ooh, that's tight. Can I get through that area? Sort of pass over it if it's a little bit too painful. But what you want to do is just, you're trying to smooth out the fibers. So you want to take your time and you want to run through it easily and slowly. Now I'm supporting myself fully on this hand and this leg, right? And I have this other hand here supporting. Because sometimes with your IT band, it's so painful that you don't want to put all your body weight on. So you're trying to control how much weight you put onto that, okay? So now let's do the other side. Okay, so you can just flip over. And again, watching for your hip, you're starting just below your hip. And position that opposite leg where it's comfortable, okay? So you're finding your IT band and you'll know it when you hit it because it is usually a little sore, right? And you take your time, you sort of work up it gently. And when you hit that spot where it's like, oh, it's a little too painful right in the middle somewhere, you can move past it, going just to the hip and then not beyond. Okay, and again, let's roll, doing just sort of a nice back and forth. You feel that, you want to just relax and breathe through it. Very nice. And maybe you come off a little bit, either to the front or the back, and then just finish with one last sweep right there, and let's come off it for a moment. You can just come back, give your legs a break for a minute, see how that feels. The area should feel warm, nicely warmed up. So now let's move to the front of the legs. We're going to do the thighs. So again, you're going from on top of the knee, okay, up into your hip flexor, okay? And so if you're starting on your IT band and you just slowly turn to the front where you can start to get that sensation. And again, a lot of weight is going to be on your hands. So if you're feeling like, oh, my wrists are bothering me, etc., take a break and come back to it and pick up where you left off. So now what I'm doing is slowly twisting. My opposite knee is on the ground so that you're getting your inner thigh as well as the front of the thigh, and then even working towards your IT band and coming off, and we're going to do the other side. Okay. And again, the biggest thing with this is just taking your time, because foam roller work, you want it to feel good. It's supposed to hydrate. It's supposed to hydrate your tissue, your fascia, and make it feel good. So here again, all of my support is on my two hands and my opposite leg. And I'm slowly rotating around to get that into my inner thigh. And then back to the front of the thigh. And if you have problem spots or little sections, you know, you can come down onto your elbow and just work on that one little area and just give it time and the tissue a little bit of time to wake up and warm up. Okay, so coming around, finishing next to that IT band. And now let's work on our hamstrings. Okay. So again, if we're starting right up at our hips, we can come right up and over our sit bones, and then we're going to gently work back and allow our hamstrings to be pressed and then rehydrated. So this is your pressing the fluid out of your fascia, and then it has to rehydrate. And with that, it's renewing and bringing added health. Okay. So now you come through all the way down behind the knees, taking your time here, and then working down into your calves. Now, what I like to do with my calves, because my calves are especially tight, is roll them back and forth without having all of my weight on them. And slowly working the roller down all the way to the base of my calf. You know, if you can't go get a massage, this is the next best thing. It's a self-massage using these rollers. Not so bad, because that feels pretty good. So now, you know, if you want to come up onto your hands and you want to roll fully, you can do that and let your feet turn out, let your feet turn in. But that does put a lot of pressure on your shoulders and arms. And I think you get just about the same amount of rolling that goes on doing it this way. Okay. So next, we're going to work our way onto our backs. So upper backs give people a lot of issues. I know that I've always had sort of a tough upper back, and always hard to get into the massage. So you never go below your ribs or even down into the base of your ribs. You want to keep the foam roller right at the base of your shoulder blades, and that's about as low as you want to go. Your organs are inside. You know, you just don't want to injure or bruise anything. So it's safer to do it that way. So if you have your hands behind your head and you lift your hips up just a little, and you begin to do the same thing, working up your spine with the foam roller, just sending it up and up, coming all the way through your spine. And again, not coming on to your cervical area, but if you place your hips down and then gently rest your neck and look to the right and the left. And then you can place your hands back, and again, picking up your hips, working back down to your starting spot. And so now once you get there, you can even place your hips down and open and extend your chest upward. This is a stretch that is relaxing and freeing. It allows your head to hang back fully so that your entire neck gets stretched. And I recommend doing this when you're not rushed for time, maybe at the end of the day or when you have a full 20-minute break, so that you can really allow for your chest to open and relax. Careful that you're not arching your back here. You always want to keep yourself slightly engaged so that you don't have any low back tension. You're letting your upper back do all of the opening here. Now, the other thing that you can do is rock side to side a little bit and work into your shoulders. And when working on my lats, I always put my hips down because that is a sensitive area. And so just gently working through your shoulders. and getting any spots that need a little extra attention. Right, so just rolling through. And just finishing off there. Now, the idea is to not macerate your muscles. It's simply to open up, hydrate, give them a little sensory wake up, and then let them rehydrate, right? So it's you want to foam roll, and then you want to leave it, okay? One last stretch that I will just share with you that I find engaging and uplifting for the end of a foam roller workout and opening is coming onto the foam roller where your head is right at the end and your tailbone is at the opposite end. And it's just balancing here for a moment. Lengthening through your spine. Having your pelvis be in neutral so you're not arched, you're not tucked. Your rib cage is engaged so that you're really feeling strong, and your chin is pointing straight up to the sky. You can bend your elbows, straighten them. And because they're behind you, you end up getting a really nice stretch through the front of your chest. And another thing that you can do is place the very end of or you place your head right at the very end, and just it helps you lengthen your spine just a little bit. You don't want to let your head hang off, but just sort of balancing on the end can give a nice sensation of opening through your spine. So whatever feels comfortable for you, that's what you should do. So thank you for joining me. And like I said, come back to this maybe every third day. You don't want to be doing it constantly. You can bruise yourself. It can be a little bit too harsh. You do it with care and control. So thank you for joining me. I'm Jennifer at the Wellness Groove. Please visit me there. If you would like to do any private training, on-demand classes, or live group training, we do it all. Come visit us. You can send me a message direct, jen@thewellnessgroove.com. I'll have some links to the equipment that I used down below. And if you have anything that you want to share, or maybe a video that I could make and post here, let me know in the comments below. See you next time.